I was wondering if you guys have thought of getting up with the labor unions to back you up and engage in a little industrial sabotage. And I don't want anybody to freak out about this. I'm not talking about violence. I'm talking about perhaps some very well targeted, random, unpredictable work stoppages. And let me tell you, there is a lot of union people that would engage in such things and would particularly be targeting the people that are supporting the politicians that are here to rip. That's one thing. People, I run a little social media thing, and I'm telling you, people are very frustrated. They don't see the Democrats really coming out and doing, what they talked about in Pulp Fiction about getting medieval on your ass. So, think of things like that. There's wonderful people in the labor movement. They know how to talk to working people.
Well, first of all, Kathy, thank you for being a constituent and for calling in today. I actually think there's something, and I'm really looking to a lot of the federal unions because they're obviously looking at what legality of anything they do could be. But, I've seen a national union leader who I really respect pose the idea of a wildcat strike the day that we could have a shutdown, because Donald Trump, I think, out of pure drama, will want a shutdown. Tom, in my gut, that's what I think he's.
Oh, he had the longest shutdown in history when he was president last time, and he loved it.
Celebrity Apprentice, right? He loves it. It's drama, right? He thinks it makes a point. But if you actually shut down the federal government, not just the non-essential, so to speak, parts of it, but everything, people would feel the crunch. And he's hoping they won't, because a lot of those people have to work even when there is a shutdown. So, I'm not advocating directly for it, but I am very intrigued by hopefully the unions are looking at this. And if they really want to show this guy to be the charlatan he is, there may be a way to, by showing how much the federal government really does impact your life, not just all the things we're talking about cuts, but, very basic services. If the American people can't get that help, it might just prove Donald Trump to be the big liar that he is.
I was just going to mention that is a good idea about the labor groups being there on protests. When I went there on Monday, now that was brought up, I saw no labor at all. And last time I protested was years ago in the 90s, and every time any issue, they would always be there. And I can't blame that black man for being angry right now. I can't blame him at all. Not all white people. I know he doesn't want to hear that. I'm not even talking to my family right now. My husband's not really talking to his much. And that's no boo-hoo for me. It is what it is. But, there are other people that will fight with you. I plan on protesting again down at the Capitol or going to D.C.
So, Diane, forgive me for, but we have limited time. So
Yeah.
your question is, can Democrats get labor more involved in protests, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Congressman?
Yeah, Diane, I'll tell you, this happens to be one of the things I'm very concerned about as well, because there has not been the national marches that we had the last time Donald Trump was elected. We had the National Women's March, over 200 locations. I think we had 20,000 plus people in the winter in Madison, Wisconsin for the rally. And so far, the only protests have been kind of pop-up ones with very little organization and with hundreds of people, maybe up to 1,000 showing up in Madison. And that, I don't think, sends the same message of those big national ones that everyone participates in. These pop-up ones, we've actually had to make calls one time to figure out who even was putting it together, because we couldn't figure that out easily, and that's a problem. So I would hope that some of the national groups that have the most people across the country, Indivisible, Move On, and others, can figure out how to have a day of a national protest to really that everyone can participate in, so that we have tens of thousands of people in Madison, Wisconsin, and hundreds of cities across the country on the same day doing the same thing. But right now we haven't had that yet, and I do think that's lacking, and we need it sooner than later.
Yeah, you're familiar with indivisible.org. Are you familiar with 5050.one?
I am not personally.
This is the group that organized all the big protests on Monday, and their website is 5050, FIFTY.ONE, and it's 50 states, 50 state capitals, one day. And I think that they have another giant national protest scheduled for March, maybe March 15th. But just
weekend be really good, right? When everyone can come, because those are when we get tens of thousands of people. And I got to tell you, the visual, at least for Madison, Wisconsin, having 400 or 1,000, I think, which were the last two rallies that they had here in this
right.
administration,